A proposed tax cut to tell you about. This one could help your local brewery expand. Senator Blumenthal was in Bloomfield this morning to talk about that legislation, which is aimed at helping small breweries expand. News 8's Ken Pierce live in our New Haven newsroom this noon with more on that. Ken.
And Keith, this legislation is called the Small Brewer Reinvestment and Expanding Workforce Act, which is a lot of words to make the acronym the Small Brew Act, B-R-E-W. It's a simple idea. There are more and more small craft breweries popping up in Connecticut and around the country. If the federal government would just cut them a break on their excise tax, they could expand and create more jobs. It may not look that appetizing right now, but this is going to become beer. Thomas Hooker Beer, that's one of more than 24 small craft breweries in Connecticut.
These breweries are growing, and they're not only growing their production, they're growing jobs.
But Senator Richard Blumenthal and representatives from 10 other breweries are all here at Bloomfield's Hooker Brewery because they all back a bill in Washington that would cut the excise tax on beer made by small breweries.
And I think that I speak for pretty much everybody here who would receive this tax break, that money would be put back into their businesses to fuel growth.
For tax purposes, beer production is still measured in barrels. The excise tax right now is $7 per barrel. This proposed legislation would cut that in half for any small breweries. Those are breweries that are brewing fewer than 60,000 barrels a year. Here at Hooker, they brew about 13,000 a year.
This means additional investment of about $45,000, which will help us hire people, will help us invest in equipment.
It sounds like a good idea, but Senator Blumenthal came to this same brewery to promote the same tax cut 2.5 years ago. It didn't pass then. The difference now, he says, is that big beer conglomerates are no longer fighting this tax cut for the little guys.
The big companies now support this idea in concept, and they have begun to share the love for small breweries. And not to confuse things too much, but in addition to the Small Brew Act, there is also the Fair Beer Act in Congress. It wants to do away with that excise tax entirely. Senator Blumenthal says he thinks cutting the tax in half has a better shot at passing through Congress. Live in the New Haven newsroom, I'm Kent Pierce. Keith, back to you.